Welcome back to the Heal and Restore podcast with your host, me, of course, Randy.
Who?
Randy.
Hi.
Hi, or as they used to call me in the rooms of AA, the happy alcoholic.
Yeah, there you are.
I forgot about that.
Oh, not me. I always, whenever I hear happy, I think about that. Happy.
Oh, yeah. That's what they call me in the room. So, and of course, the most beautiful and talented, my wonderful wife, Mrs. Cathy Boyd.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on when, where, and what time you're listening to this.
Exactly. Yeah. So, remember, our heart is to help individuals and couples grow stronger through healing, honest conversations, and meaningful connection. Each week we talk about real life topics like communication, forgiveness, intimacy, family, and emotional health, because healthy relationships begin with the healed hearts. Thanks for tuning in as we take another step together toward restoring what matters most. Mm-hmm. Our heart at Heal and Restore is to help individuals and couples heal from past wounds, restore emotional safety, rebuild connection, and learn how to live and love from a healthier place.
Amen to that.
And it is possible. We know for a fact it's possible.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's definitely something we've had to work on.
Oh, yeah.
Something we work on with our couples on a regular basis.
Yes,
as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
So today, we're going to dive into an episode. I had a friend that gave us this idea, and we're always open to topics and ideas. So if you come across anything and you're like, hey, this might be a good podcast subject, we would love to hear from you. So please let us know.
Shoot us an email.
Yeah. So today, we're going to call this episode that when triggered, remember to give yourself grace. And I think that's something that's
really important.
We don't really do often enough. So in this episode, we're going to use the word grace, Grace, as a simple tool to help us just slow down. And when we feel emotionally triggered. So grace, Grace, we're going to dive into that.
All right. Because all of us get triggered. All of us do at times. Being triggered does not mean you are broken. It does not mean you have failed. It does not mean you have not grown. It means something inside of you has been activated. And as Cathy says, a trigger is only a sign of an unhealed wound.
Right, it's just an unhealed wound.
That's all it is. Many times what gets activated in the present is connected to something painful from the past.
That's that unhealed wound.
Absolutely. That is the truth beyond truth.
Yeah, true. And sometimes it could be a tone of a voice. It could be a certain look. It could be silence. It might be feeling ignored, criticized, or rejected.
Yeah.
Maybe you've been controlled or misunderstood, or you feel unsafe.
Right,
These are all areas that can be triggered. And so when that happens, our first response is often not grace.
No.
We don't think about that at all. Many times our first response we might feel shame. We might be defensive. We might have anger or rage, fear, kind of boil up within us. We might withdraw, shut down. We might feel the fear, or we could have self-condemnation, where we just kind of beat ourselves up in that process.
I want to say this real quick when it comes to triggers. Until we can recognize our own triggers, then it's going to be hard for our partner to understand what's going on. So once we can recognize our own triggers in our life, then we can explain it to our partner or spouse, right? And so that they can understand, hey, when I'm talked to this way, I get triggered because it reminds me of when I was a kid or whatever. So it's like your triggers are going to be the responsibility of your partner to help you work through them. That way, like Cathy, there's a lot of triggers I've had, and Cathy has worked through a lot of them. So it just makes our relationship a lot safer because she knows my triggers, and so now she can adjust the way she talks.
Right,
and it's important.
That's so true. So true.
We may also say to ourselves, "Why am I still reacting this way?
That's good.
I should be over this by now. What is wrong with me?" Or I thought I was healed. Wow. 20 years I've been working on this, right? And I can still, there's triggers that come up that I don't even know I have.
Yeah, no, that's good.
But healing is not proven by never being triggered. Healing is often revealed in what we do after we are triggered.
Yeah, it's kind of like that response.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So some of the things you have to think about. Can we slow down? It's a big question.
Right.
Can we really recognize what's happening in that moment?
Those are tough ones.
Yeah.
Yes, this is tough.
Maybe can we take responsibility without shaming ourselves?
Yeah.
We have to learn to do that. Or can we respond instead of react?
Important, very important.
But the biggest question that we're going to talk about today is, can we give ourselves grace?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh. That is what we want to talk about today, using the acronym GRACE, grace. And G is ground yourself. R is recognize the trigger.
Good.
A is assess and adjust. C is choose your response, and E is exit and engage elsewhere. And this whole thing is where a good coach or mentor is going to come in to help you understand all this.
Right. Yeah. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more too.
Yeah, absolutely. So what does it mean to be triggered? A trigger that is something that in the present that creates a strong emotional, physical, or mental response inside of us. It may be something someone says. It may be something someone does not say.
Yeah, that's that silence.
Right?
Yeah.
The silence. It may be silence, conflict, disappointment, feeling dismissed, or feeling unseen. Right?
Yeah, sometimes that reaction, it feels really big in that moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
It feels much bigger than it probably is in the moment.
Because it usually takes you back to something that happened earlier in your life, and it's just like, oh.
Yeah. So here, this is an example that might happen. Your spouse might say something, "Can we talk?" And suddenly your chest tightens up. Your heart starts racing. Your mind might say, "Oh, I'm in trouble."
Right.
Because where else have you heard that?
Right. What's wrong now? What's going to be the problem today?
Or another example might be your spouse gets really quiet. And immediately you feel rejected or abandoned. Or you might feel, what did I do wrong? Again, am I in trouble? Or someone might give you feedback. And instead of hearing the feedback and receiving the feedback, you feel attacked. Or you might feel ashamed. And
this is where it's really important. If you're going to give someone feedback, be very careful in the way that you present it to them, right?
You never know what somebody's walked through.
No, and first of all, ask them. Don't just give it to them. Yeah. Ask them if they would like some feedback.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. And then do it gently.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah, that's good.
Triggers are not always logical.
They don't make sense sometimes.
They don't make sense at all. They do not always make sense to the thinking part of our brain. But they often make sense to the wounded part of our story. And that's
powerful. So our brain doesn't make sense of it, but our body tells us the score.
Right, exactly. Really, and the body never forgets.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's such a key statement. Wow, that's really powerful. Triggers, they may not always make sense to the thinking part of the brain, but they often make sense to the wounded part of our story.
Yep.
And that is powerful. And, when we understand that, we can move from the judgment of how we're feeling to the curiosity. The mind. What is it? Why am I feeling this way? What's causing this? Right. Where is this coming from? So instead of saying, what's wrong with me, we can ask ourselves, what just happened inside of me?
Yes, that's where we go.
What did this touch?
It's like I said, from judgment to curiosity. So we want to become curious about that. Ask ourselves, where's this coming from?
Yeah,
Get
what am
really
I feeling?
Curious. Yeah.
Why is my body? What is my body trying to protect me from? We've kind of put a protective blanket on us, and we have to ask ourselves, what is my body protecting me from?
Absolutely.
So this is why grace is so important. Grace does not ignore the trigger. Actually, grace will help us slow down and understand it. And that's what's important here.
Absolutely.
So we're going to talk a little bit about some triggers that are signals, and they're not proof of failure.
Right.
So one of the things that we want you to remember today as you're listening to this, again, a trigger is a signal. It's not proof of failure. It's just a signal. It's like a little red blinking light that is letting you know something's up.
Something's wrong. Something's not right.
And it's not proof that you're weak.
No,
by any
not
means.
At all.
It's not proof that you're immature. No. And it's not proof that you're spiritually broken. It's just a signal that something inside of you needs attention. And it's like I said, it's almost, I shouldn't say a red light. Red light is a stop sign. To me, it's a yellow light. It's a caution line. It's like being aware that there's something going on that we need to cautiously look into.
And it's not a sign of weakness, I think you said, but it's, actually to start delving into all this, it takes a tremendous amount of strength and courage, right? So don't by any means think that you're weak because you're having to look at this stuff.
Yeah, that's good.
And think of it as I'm courageous and I'm strong and I'm going to get through this, right?
Yeah.
The trigger is like an emotional dashboard light. Engine light comes on. Are you going to ignore it or are you going to work on it? You're going to take, hey, what's wrong? What's going on, right? When the check engine light comes on in your car, you do not say, this car is worthless.
No. No.
You understand that the light is trying to tell you something needs care.
No, something needs attention. Something
Absolutely.
needs care. Yeah.
And remember, we're all children of God, made in the image of God, so none of us are worthless.
No. So when you're triggered, it doesn't mean you're going to just throw yourself away. You're no good. Let's put me in the trash can. It just means pay attention.
Yeah.
It's like, hello, I'm here. So when we pay attention with grace, we've got to pay attention with compassion. We've got to pay attention with that curiosity. And we've got to pay attention without shame.
And part of what Cathy was just talking about right there, a lot of us, because of things that might have happened to us in the past in our childhood, we don't think we're worthy of compassion or grace or we don't feel that. We're filled with so much shame that, well, I don't deserve any grace. I don't deserve this. No, you do.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I don't care what you've been told in the past.
Yep. You're
absolutely worthy of all the love, compassion, attention, right? And without the shame.
Yeah.
The shame belongs to the perpetrator. It doesn't belong to you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Remember, shame tells us that I don't belong here. I should have never been born. And that's an out-and-out lie.
Right.
Right? Many of the reactions we judge in ourselves today were once survival strategies, and they worked for a very long time until they quit working.
Very true. Very true.
Maybe you learned to fight because it was the only way to protect yourself. Maybe you learned to flee because staying felt unsafe. To flee because how come I? Anyways,
put your mind together here.
Man, my mind's going everywhere. Yeah, maybe you learned to freeze because speaking up was dangerous.
Yeah, that happens.
Right?
Definitely.
Right. That's why a lot of us can't speak our truth anymore. We shut down.
Yeah.
Maybe you learn to people please because keeping everyone else happy helped you survive. Hello.
That sounds like me.
Also call it codependency.
Yeah. Yeah. But really what helped you survive back then doesn't have to control how you respond today. And I think that's the biggest thing. Whatever happened to us back then does not have to control who we are and how we show up today. That's so important.
We're not what happened to us.
Right.
What happened is we can't let it define us. Okay? We can't do that.
Yeah. So what we want to do is we want to learn a new way.
Yeah.
And that's where the GRACE tool, GRACE, comes into place. So let's talk about the GRACE tool.
Yeah. So great. G is for ground yourself, right? Yeah. The first letter in GRACE is G. Ground yourself. When you're triggered, the first thing you need to do is come back to the present moment.
That's really good.
Because when we are triggered, our body may respond as if the past is happening again. So it's very important, and it takes practice to do this. Now, wait a minute. This isn't the past. I'm here today. I'm grounded today. I'm safe today.
Yeah.
This is just happening right now. It doesn't mean I'm a bad person.
Yeah, the G grounding, it really helps it helps remind our nervous system that I'm here. Right. I'm not back there. I'm in this present moment.
Right.
And that's what we've got to get to is the present moment. Because when we're triggered, our heart rate may go up, our chest may tighten, our stomach may turn, shoulders may tense. You wind up, your mind just won't stop. It's all wound up, ready to go. It's like it's racing around a track.
It's like the adrenaline takes over, and then it's over with.
Yeah, and in that moment, trying to solve the whole problem may not be the best first step. So first thing you have to do is ground yourself. You have to get to a place where that G, that ground yourself, is your first instinct. And it's not going to happen right away. It's going to take practice. Yeah, it's going to definitely take practice.
Right. So grounding really can be simple, right? Here's a couple of things you can do. Take a slow breath in. Do the box breathing. 4 deep breaths in, hold it for 4, and 4 breaths out. And just repeat that.
Yeah, let it out slowly.
Let it out slowly. Feel your feet on the floor. Right?
Take your shoes off. Put your feet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Put your feet on the floor.
Notice the chair underneath you. Right? Look around the room and name what you see, right?
These are all great.
Place your hand over your heart and remind yourself, I am safe right now.
Yeah.
Even though I might not feel it, you are safe.
Yeah.
Right?
And once you've kind of walked through those simple steps, you might tell yourself, this is just a trigger. This is a trigger. This is just a trigger. I'm having a reaction. Yep. And that's a good thing. I'm just reacting to the trigger.
Right.
I can slow down. I definitely can slow down. And I don't have to respond immediately.
No.
And I'm here in the present moment. And I think that's the slowing everything down and ground yourself is so, so important.
I don't have to respond immediately means, wait a minute, I need to take a breath. I need to walk away. You need to process it, walk away. And that's the hardest thing to do because oftentimes, hey, I need a break. I'm going to walk away because I feel myself being triggered. It's hard for our spouse or partner to understand that.
Yeah,
very true. Remember, we're taking care of ourselves. By taking care of ourselves, we're going to save the marriage, the hassle that we might go through.
Good. Right? Really good, yeah.
So for couples, this is so important because when one person is triggered, the conversation can escalate very quickly. And believe me, I know that one all too well.
Been there, done that.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
One person reacts, the other person reacts to their reaction. Suddenly both people are no longer talking about the actual issue. They're both protecting themselves.
Yeah, so now our protective blankets have been wrapped around us.
Absolutely. All right.
So that is when the grounding can interrupt that cycle. So instead of reacting immediately, you might tell yourself, I need a moment to ground myself. That's a great comeback for that. I want to respond well and not react out of fear or anger.
Exactly.
So those statements, they create emotional safety, not only for yourself by saying it, but for your other person as well. So it's really important.
As hard as it might be to just, say something like that and walk away from the moment, you have to do it.
Yeah.
It's going to save a lot of headache.
Things aren't going to change until we take the opposite response to the situation. Right. So I need a moment to ground myself. I'm not going to respond well, but I don't want to react out of anger or fear. Right. So the R now, we're going to jump into the R. The R, again, is recognize the trigger. So we have to recognize the trigger, first of all. So once you're grounded, begin to recognize what actually triggered you. So there's some things you can ask yourself in that. What just happened? What was said? Yeah. That's important too. What was said? What was not said? What did I see? What did I hear? Or what did I feel? Those are all things that we have to come back and ask ourselves. What just happened? What was said? What was not said? What did I see? What did I hear? What did I feel? Right. It's really important.
Right. And oftentimes we got to be careful with what we hear. Right? So sometimes we think the trigger is the whole situation, but often there's something specific that activates.
Right. It's not just one little thing.
It's
not a big bunch of things. It's usually one small thing.
One small thing. Yeah. It just triggered that thought from something in the past. It may have been a tone, a facial expression, someone walking away. Ooh, that hurts. Feeling interrupted, feeling dismissed. Oh, that's a tough one too. Feeling corrected, feeling ignored, or feeling like you disappointed someone. And these, I hate people, why do you keep going back to childhood? Because that's where all this, that's where it's all developed, is in the childhood.
We don't just, have these things in our head. Something has happened that's triggered them. So what is really important in all of this is that we have to name it without judgment. We have to just be accepting of what it is. So what you might want to do is just say, I was triggered when I felt criticized. Maybe it's, I was triggered when I felt ignored. Maybe it was triggered when I felt controlled. Or maybe I was triggered when I felt like I did not matter. And we have to name it.
Yeah, so on all this that we just discussed, the one thing, like in the program, it tells us we must become rigorous, rigorously honest. And how does that rigorous honesty start? It begins with ourselves.
Yep.
But this is the key, about ourselves.
Yeah, right? Definitely.
We have to go back and we have to, look at our past. We have to do self-reflection. Where did this happen in my childhood? Was it my childhood or was it my teen years?
Right.
Where did I develop this trigger? Right? Okay. So naming the trigger helps bring clarity. Again, being rigorously honest. Right? Yeah. Because when we do not recognize the trigger, we often just react react from it.
Well, not only react from it, we repeat it. Honestly, it could be repeated too.
Over and over, like I did for years.
Yeah. So much of the time, underneath that trigger, there's a deeper feeling. And we talk about this, that deeper feeling is that deeper root.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and this at the surface, it might look like anger, but underneath is fear.
Yeah, underneath anger is always fear.
Fear, yeah. At the surface, it might feel like or look like defensiveness, but underneath, there's shame that is attached to that. At the surface, we might feel like it looks like withdrawal, but underneath, it might just be sadness.
Yep.
That's okay, too. Yeah. And at the surface, it might look like control, but underneath, there might be some anxiety with it. So we got to name these things, and we've got to look at what is underneath that trigger.
Yeah, all those, the anger, defensiveness, withdrawal, and control, those are all the first things that we think about, right? But we have to look at what's the underlying causes of all those.
All those emotions,
exactly. In marriage, this can be very healing, right? It wasn't ours. Yeah. And it still is.
Yeah, so. We're working on it every day.
Oh, yeah, you got to work on this stuff every day. Instead of saying, you made me feel this way, nobody has the power to make you feel, do, or say anything you don't want to do, feel, or say. You can say, I noticed I got triggered when I felt dismissed. Yeah. I want to understand that better.
That feels very inviting.
Yes.
To be honest with you.
The minute we use the word use, it's an accusation. Yeah. We want to invite the other person in to us.
Yeah. Right? You know, and it creates a very different conversation. Yes. You know, it creates one that creates defensiveness. The other causes the possibility for understanding. Yeah. Causes the possibility for connection. Causes the possibility for vulnerability to draw somebody in and be close to them.
Right, exactly.
So let's talk about the A, Randy.
So the A is assess and adjust. That's the third letter, of course, is A in grace. After you ground yourself and recognize the trigger, ask yourself, what is happening inside of me and what needs to be adjusted?
Yeah, that's, again, this is where we have to slow down and we have to assess the situation. We cannot do this if our mind is spinning. So we have to slow down to get to the assess and adjust as well. And so how we can do that, we have to ask ourselves, what am I feeling? What story am I telling myself? I think that's the other thing. We can create a lot of these things in our own head, but what story am I telling myself? Is this feeling familiar? Have I been here before? Does this feel like I've connected to something from my past? Right. You might ask yourself, is this about the present, the past, or both? Because something could be a trigger from your past, and it could be happening in your present. Yep. So it could be both. What do I need to do right now? What do I need right now? What is it that I need right now in this mindset? Right. And then you might also ask yourself, what would help me respond in a healthier way? And these are all great questions to ask because you can't, it's slowing down, you've got to slow down to ask those questions. Absolutely. Before you're going to even get clarity on it. Absolutely. Yeah, you can't let that adrenaline take over because then everything just goes goes out the door right there with adrenaline, right? Yeah. It takes over. That question, what story am I telling myself, is extremely important, right? Because when we are triggered, our mind often creates a story. Yeah. Stories such as, my spouse does not care. I'm being rejected once again. I'm in trouble. I'm not good enough. I'm going to be abandoned. I am powerless. I have to defend myself. Yeah, I could see where I've done that in the past. Right, I mean, the one that says I'm in trouble, I don't like to be called Randall. My legal name, because Randall means I was in trouble. Yeah. Right. So that's a little trigger for you. It's a trigger for even me. At the doctor's office, you always will correct them so that it doesn't put you in that place. Randy. Yeah. So these stories, they might feel true in the moment. There's no doubt. Right. But they may not be the full truth. Right. The whole truth together. Nothing but the truth. Nothing but the truth, right. So this is where assess comes into play. We have to assess, and how we can do that is we have to ask ourselves a few questions here too. Is this really what is happening? Do I have all the information, or am I getting just nuggets of the information? Could there be another explanation? Absolutely, there could be. And the other last question here is, am I reacting? Ooh, that's a powerful one. am I reacting to what was said or what I fear it means? Because sometimes we can create so much confusion in our head that we don't even really know what we're reacting to. Is it what was said, or is it the fear of what it means?
And a good way to respond to that, right, is like, I need clarification because I want to make sure I understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like you're attacking me, so tell me exactly what you're talking about. What does this mean? I mean, let me know so that give me some clarification.
Right. This is where the adjustment comes in too, because there's things you can do to adjust.
Right.
So we assess, which are the questions we ask.
Right.
And the adjust.
And now there's the adjust, which is maybe I need to adjust my breathing. This is a big one, a huge one. Maybe I need to adjust my tone. And that's one that we work with our clients on.
Yeah, I have to learn to continue to do that too.
Right, we all do. So, maybe I need to adjust the story I'm telling myself. Yeah.
What are you telling yourself?
Yeah, what are you telling yourself? And where did that story come from? Where did it originate from? Yeah. Right? Maybe I need to adjust my expectation. Right?
That's good.
Maybe I need to ask for clarification instead of assuming.
Every time I heard that word assuming, I think of Jiminy Cricket.
Jiminy Cricket, make an ass out of you and me, right?
I don't know if the young people know that.
They probably don't, because I don't know if Jiminy Cricket's around anymore. Maybe I need to take a short break before continuing.
Yeah, take that
Walk
pause.
away.
Take that pause. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so assess and adjust. That's where grace and responsibility, they kind of come together. They kind of marry each other. So grace and responsibility come together. And the one thing I love about this is that grace will say, it makes sense that I feel activated. But responsibility says, now, what do I need to adjust so that I don't respond from my wounded place?
Right.
And I think that's what's really important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So, for example, your spouse says, we need to talk about finances.
Ouch, I don't like to talk about that.
Immediately you feel anxious. Your mind says, I'm in trouble. I did something wrong. This is going to become a fight. Right?
Yeah.
So you ground yourself. You recognize the trigger. I feel criticized and afraid.
Name it. That's good.
You got to name it, right? Yeah. Then you assess, what story am I telling myself? I am assuming this is going to be an attack.
Right.
I think we've all done that, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Then you just, instead of defending myself, I can ask for clarity.
Yeah.
You might say, I notice I am feeling anxious. Are you upset with me, or are we just looking at the finances together? That is really important.
That's really valuable.
And we're talking about finance, but you can do this in a lot of areas of your marriage, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
it's really important to do this with your kids too. We got to teach our kids to be able to
be able to have grace in these moments as well. So that one little simple adjustment, it can completely change the dynamic of the conversation.
Yep.
So instead of reacting to the story, you ask for clarity, and that's the biggest thing here.
Exactly.
So in grace, GRACE, we're now at C, which is choose your response. Choose, it's choice. So there is a difference between reacting and responding.
Yep.
The reaction is immediate.
Yep.
Boom, you just fired off. It's often protective. It comes from fear. It can come from shame. It can come from survival. It could be something that you've done over and over and over again because of things that have happened in your past.
Yeah.
But a response, it includes awareness. It allows me, it allows you, it allows us to choose what to do next. So we are being intentional about our response.
Yes.
Reaction, there's not much intention behind that. It just fires off. But a response is intentionality. And I love that word because now we're slowing down to make a choice.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes the space between reaction and response is very small.
Yeah.
It may only be a few seconds.
Yeah.
Right? If you feel that angst coming up and you just say, whoa, time out, right?
Yeah.
But those few seconds, they do matter a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
So, how we choose our response, there could be several ways that we look at that. So it might sound like, I need a moment, just a timeout, just a little pause. You might say that again in a softer way. Maybe I'm going to ask for you to repeat that in a softer way. Maybe you want to understand. I want to understand what you mean. So you ask, I really want to understand what you mean. So you're slowing that down and you're making a choice.
That's a good one because oftentimes Cathy and I ran into this, and we have a client the other day ran into this.
Yeah.
One person is asking questions, and oftentimes it's a trigger because it feels like we're being doubted, that we feel like you don't trust us or you don't believe us or whatever. And it's like, I just need to understand what you mean. I'm not doubting you. I'm not shaming you. I believe in you 100%. I just need to understand what you mean, right? I want to learn.
Right. And I think that's the key, is that in the past, you realize that that was a trigger.
Right,
and that's happened.
right, exactly.
And so for me, I understand that that's a trigger to you, but I want to understand. I want to connect with you. I want to understand where you're thinking and understand how you got to that conclusion.
Exactly.
Because it's important to me.
No, we had an incident that really brought all this to light.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a silly incident, but it needed to happen. And now it's like, okay, she's not questioning me. She just wants to understand. And sometimes she'll repeat that, Randy, I just need to understand. Yeah. You're right. Okay, I got it.
Yeah. Another thing that might happen is you might feel defensive, but I want to listen. So you might say, I'm feeling a little defensive, but I really want to listen. I want to hear you. You might say, I'm feeling overwhelmed, and I don't know what to say. I don't want to say something hurtful. Right. So I'm feeling overwhelmed. And sometimes you might just need that really good pause to come back later and set a time. Hey, let's just take a pause, and we'll come back to this in 30 minutes, whatever that might be.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you've got to choose a good response.
And remember that choosing your response does not mean you ignore what hurts you.
No, we're not going to just dismiss it.
No. And oftentimes it helps if once you can get to that response area that you can speak to your partner or your spouse and say, I just felt hurt when I heard these words, or whatever you want to say. Right? It means you decide not to let the hurt control how you behave. Right?
Yeah.
And that comes from when we were kids. A lot of times we couldn't say nothing, or we get in more trouble. Right. But now as an adult, we want to fight back. Right. So
we have to have new responses.
We have to have new responses. We have to learn how to restrain ourselves, that we're with our partner or our spouse. They're not what happened to me in the past.
Right. No, true.
You can be hurt and still choose kindness.
Choice.
It's a choice, right? Remember, every way we react is a choice, right? You can be upset and still choose honesty.
Right? Got a choice.
You can feel defensive and still choose humility.
I love that.
You can feel afraid and still choose to slow down.
Yeah, slowing down is going to be key in a lot of this.
Absolutely.
So. But if you do react poorly, grace still applies.
Yep.
Grace didn't go out the door if you acted poorly.
Right.
Because remember, grace says, I can repair.
Right.
And so what does repair sound like?
Yeah.
We've got some things here that'll help you with that. So repair, it's hard sometimes to go back and repair, but these are some things that will help you repair, and things that I've had to work on. It's simple things like, I'm sorry, I reacted instead of responding. Like I said, I do an unwind. Right. Let me start all over.
Yeah.
Or you might say, I got triggered, but I still need to own how I spoke to you. Right. I'm responsible for how I spoke to you.
Exactly. Yep.
You might say, I shut down earlier and I want to come back. Or you might say, I raised my voice and that was not okay.
Right.
And I want to try again. These are all showing your grace and accountability to your grace.
And your spouse that's responding this way, I'm sorry, reacting instead of responding. The spouse that is being apologized to, you have to show grace at that moment. Just accept the apology. Don't be saying, but. They're taking a risk, right? They're being vulnerable by saying, hey, I reacted instead of responding. I'm so
Grace goes both ways. Absolutely. Yeah, I love that.
Because if you want them to be honest with you, you cannot shut them down.
Right. Yeah. You want to change the dynamic of the relationship, offer grace, extend grace. Yeah.
And healthy relationships are not built on perfection.
Thank God. Whew.
They are built on repair. Yeah. And Cathy and I, if we were an auto shop, we wouldn't be able to afford the amount of repairs we did in our marriage.
We would have been busted by now.
We'd been in the bank. We'd been in the I don't know. We'd been so far in debt it'd be unreal.
We might have filed bankruptcy a few times.
A few times, right? Yeah.
So we want to be clear. on this is giving yourself grace does not mean exhausting and excusing harmful behavior. Right. It doesn't mean that we're just going to say, oh, we're going to give you a break. No. Right. Grace is not saying I was triggered so I can do whatever I want. That's not going to work.
That's not going to work.
That's not going to help. It's not going to grow you. Grace is not saying I was hurt so I can hurt you back. Tit for tat. Yeah, no.
You did this to me, so I'm going to do it back to you.
Right. And grace is not saying this is just how I am. No. You know, we see this often as people say, this is just how I am. And our response is, but this is not how you have to be, or this is not who you have to be, because this is not who God's created you to be.
That's the word right there. It's not who you are.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So true grace includes responsibility. Mm-hmm. Grace says, there is a reason I reacted, and I am responsible for how I respond. Mm-hmm. I'm not responsible for how the other person talked. It's like we learned in recovery. Keep your side of the street clean. I go to my mentors, well, she did that. I don't care what she
accountability.
did. I don't care what she did. How did you keep your side of the street clean? Yeah. How did you react? And that's really important, right?
Yeah, I love that.
So the final letter is Z. Exit and engage elsewhere.
Okay.
Sometimes the healthiest response is to step away from triggering situation before it becomes harmful. Mm-hmm. And if you're triggered and you react, it will blow up in your face so fast you won't even know what hit you.
Yeah. So there's times when, staying in a conversation while you're emotionally flooded, it only leads to more damage.
Yes.
So you've got to realize that. So again, if your heart's racing, if your voice is rising, maybe your thoughts are racing, your body's tense, and you know you're about to say something that's going to be hurtful, that might be the best time to exit.
Yeah, because again, once our adrenaline kicks in, and we start feeling that angst, we lose all control of what's coming out of our mouth.
Yeah.
The adrenaline takes over, and that's when things can get really nasty and ugly.
Yeah.
Right? And plus, that adrenaline does a lot of damage to your body.
Yeah. Right? It's affecting you physically. Yeah, absolutely.
But exit does not mean abandon. Right? I'm not abandoning you. I just need a timeout. Exit does not mean punish with silence. That's the worst thing you can do. Silent treatment is the most damaging I think you can do to anybody.
It's emotionally damaging.
It's very emotionally damaging. Exit does not mean storm off. No, I'm just going to go in my room. I'll show you, right? And exit does not mean avoid the issue forever.
That's something we were good at for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it'll just go away if I ignore it.
If I ignore it, yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's avoidance.
Avoidance. A healthy exit is communicated with respect and reassurance on both parts.
On both parts, yeah. So that might sound like I'm getting overwhelmed. I need to step away for a little bit, but I will come back. And then make sure you come back. You got to also sound like, I don't want this conversation to become hurtful, so I need a pause. You might even say, I care about you, and I want to talk about this when I'm calmer. And then another thing you can use is, I need to take a walk and settle down. Let's come back to this later. It isn't going to hurt to exit, but come back to these things. And be aware that when you're feeling these things, it's okay to say this. I think a lot of times we think we got to stay in the fight. We don't have to stay in the fight.
And if you choose to walk away and your partner or spouse start saying stuff, I just keep walking. Don't re-engage.
Yeah.
Right? You got to take care of yourself.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And then the second part is engage elsewhere. Right? That doesn't mean go engage in an unhealthy relationship somewhere else or in a bottle of alcohol or at the end of a meth pipe. Right? That means you do something healthy with the emotional energy, right? You do not exit and go rehearse anger in your mind. You do not exit and text someone to build your case.
To build your case, yeah.
That's the worst thing.
This is happening. You're just trying to put a team together to fight with you.
Well, I told Susan about this, and she agrees with me that you're a jerk and that.
No, that's not going to work.
You don't do that, man. You do not exit and numb out with unhealthy behavior. Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you do not exit and punish your spouse with withdrawal.
Yeah. Right? One of the things that I'm going to add to the do not exit and numb yourself with unhealthy behavior. My unhealthy behavior a lot of times was shopping and spending money. I'm just saying that because I think a lot of us would not think about that as an unhealthy behavior.
Right.
Spending money when you're emotionally numb is unhealthy. If you are spending money to become, because you need something or you want something like that, that's fine. But spending it because you're emotionally drained, that's unhealthy behavior. And I have been guilty of that in the past.
And that's the first I've heard of this. And like my mentor said, more will be revealed.
Yeah, there you are. So when we say engage elsewhere, that means that you move towards something that's going to help regulate you. It's going to help you reflect. It's going to give you an opportunity to return back to the conversation in a much healthier way. So you might take a walk. You might pray. Find some time to just speak to God. You might journal. Journal is a key tool to help release the things that are going on in your head and give you an opportunity to reflect as well.
Another thing you can do, like if you have a favorite dog, right? Go on and just sit with your dog. They're great.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, they're great listeners.
Yeah.
Right?
They don't have any feedback.
No, they don't have any feedback. But Otis, my dogs have always been a source of like calmness to me.
Yeah.
If you have a good dog, they sense
when things are
up. Right, and so they can be very compassionate towards you, right?
Some other things I think that are helpful too is listening to music, listening to worship music, whether it's worship music, country music, whatever your genre is. Right. Get away and listen to it. Maybe call a safe, wise person who will not just fuel your anger. That's really important, to have somebody that's just going to listen and not feed into the situation.
And this is extremely critical. Do not call a parent.
Yeah.
That's just going to fuel fire that you'll have no extinguisher for.
No family member, really, to be honest with
absolutely
you. Call
not.
a safe person who is just going to be able to listen and maybe give you a different perspective, give you some questions and thoughts that are going to help you look at things with a new pair of glasses. Right. Sometimes people will just step away and we'll read scripture. We'll pull the Bible out because God answers us through that.
Right.
The breathing mechanism, taking a deep breath, sitting quietly, and then one of the things that's really important that's helped me in some cases is I ask God, what's happening inside of me? What's going on? Why am I feeling this way? And a lot of times just having that connection will bring calm to the situation.
And if we can turn our mind off long enough, God will speak to us. Yeah. But if we got our mind going and we can't get away from that cycle of what is and whatever.
It's like a merry-go-round, a bunch of horses going around.
We're not going to be able to hear what God has to tell us, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to be a real gentle nudge is what it's going to be. Something will come up. It's like, oh, man. So just try to clear your mind enough to be able to listen to God.
Yeah.
Right? Then when you're ready, you return. You return to repair. You return to clarify. Yeah. You return to listen with curiosity. You return to take responsibility for your own actions, and you return to reconnect. A healthy exit protects this relationship. An unhealthy exit avoids the relationship. That is the difference.
That's really good. So as we kind of wind up here, we want to go through the acronym of GRACE and review that. So the GRACE begins with the G, which is ground yourself. Come back to the present moment. Breathe. Notice your body and remind yourself, I am safe right now.
And R is recognize the trigger. Name what activated you. Was it tone? A look? Was it silence or criticism? Rejection, conflict, or feeling unseen? Right?
And our A is assess and adjust. Ask yourself, what am I feeling? What story am I telling myself? What needs to be adjusted before I respond?
Absolutely. And C is choose your response. Yeah. Do not let the trigger choose for you. Speak with awareness, ask for clarity, pause if needed, and respond instead of react.
Yeah, that's really good.
You don't always need to spit out that first thing that comes to your mind.
Right. And the E is our exit and engage elsewhere. That's like a triple E. Exit and engage elsewhere. If the moment is becoming unhealthy, step away respectfully, regulate your emotions, engage in something that's healthy for you, and then return when you are able.
So That is a grace tool. It's that simple. Simple in theory, hard to put in place. Right? And remember, this is not about perfection. This is about practice.
We practice.
Because you're stepping into something that you might not have ever done before.
Right. So think of it as a practice. It's like going, like playing on a football team. You practice to become better. You're going to practice to become better in grace as well.
And you're going to trip along the way, and that's okay. That you get back up, and that's when you go and take responsibility for your actions.
And then you apply grace again.
Absolutely.
Start all over.
Right.
So faith, I want to talk a little bit, there's a faith perspective on grace. I think it's really important that we talk about this. As followers of Christ, grace is not just an idea. It's not something that we go, I could do this. It's central to our relationship with God. And in Romans 8:1, it reads that, therefore, there is no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Doesn't mean that there's no correction. It just means God does not lead us through condemnation. He offers us grace over and over again.
Right? And then many people confuse conviction with condemnation. It's a big deal. Conviction says, this needs attention and God will help you grow. Condemnation says, you're hopeless. None of us are hopeless.
No.
Conviction draws us toward God. Condemnation makes us want to hide from God.
Yeah, that's so true.
Right?
So
and
true.
That conviction brings a lot of shame out.
Right. And then there's 2 Corinthians 12:9, and it reads that my grace is sufficient for you. That right there, my grace is sufficient for you. For my power is made perfect in weakness. So if you're feeling weak, remember God's grace is sufficient for us. That's all we really need, is to seek God, and He gives us that grace day in and day out. And God meets us right there in that weakness. And He doesn't shame us for having tender places.
Nope.
He invites us into the healing. And that's a beautiful thing.
You got to remember that Christ despised shame. Absolutely despised it.
Yeah.
So when you're triggered, remember this: God is not surprised by your struggle.
Nope.
Not at all. Right? God is not disgusted by your healing process.
No.
And God is not finished with you. Remember, God is everything or God is nothing. So what you're going through, He knows exactly what you're going through, and He's there for you. He sees the whole story.
Yeah.
He sees what happened to you. He sees what you are willing, what you're still learning, and He offers grace for the journey.
Yeah, that's so good. So as we close this out, we're going to offer you some reflection questions. So think about a recent time when you were triggered. If you have something that pops into your head, think about that moment when you're triggered.
In fact, what I would do right now, hit pause, get a pencil and paper, and write these down.
Yeah, that's good. So think about a time you were triggered, and here's some questions to ask. What happened? What happened? The second one might be, what did you feel in your body?
That's very important.
What did you feel in your body? The third one is, what story did you tell yourself? What story did you tell yourself? The next question you can ask yourself is, did you fight, flee, freeze, or people please? Did you fight, flee, freeze, or people please? The next question is, what did you need in that moment? I think we forget to ask that. We can maybe look at all these and identify, but what did you need in that moment? That's a time for really good reflection. And then the final question you can ask is, which part of grace would have helped you the most? Which part of GRACE would have helped you the most? So again, what happened? What did you feel in your body? What story did you tell yourself? Did you fight, flee, freeze, or people please? And what did you need in that moment? Right, that's very important. And what part of grace would have helped you most? Okay. And for couples, talk about these questions when you are calm. Again, write these down. What are some common triggers for each of us? What are some common triggers for each of us? How do we usually respond when we are triggered? And how do we usually respond when we are triggered? Yeah, that's good. Next one, what helps each of us, this is important, feel safe? What helps each of us feel safe? Reflection, yeah. Right? How can we take a healthy pause
without it feeling like abandonment.
Mm-hmm.
And if you need help with that answer, you can reach out to us at Heal and Restore Counseling, or find a wise mentor, somebody that can help you with, being able to take that, learn how to take that healthy pause without feeling like you abandoned. What does repair look like for us? What does repair look like for us? Not for Kathy and I, not for your neighbors, not for your best friend and his husband and her husband. What does it look like for you?
That's good.
How can we practice grace together?
Yeah.
Oh, you want to talk?
Yeah, these conversations, although they can sound a little overwhelming, they're really very healing. And we have to remember that you don't have to try to process everything in the middle of a triggered moment. That's where we have to slow down first, and then we reflect later. And so that's why the pause is so important, to slow down and pause and then come back and reflect on this, because these are some pretty heavy questions to ask yourselves. And they're going to take some time and some thought, but you're worth the time and you're worth the thought if you're going to repair and heal a relationship, or even just heal yourself. And,
we run across a lot. I don't know what I need.
Right.
Well, I think that's the time for you to really do some reflection. And what do you really need in that moment? I think we all know what we need, but many of us are afraid to say it.
Yeah.
And put it on pen and paper, because then it becomes real.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's good. So really good.
As always, we like to leave you with a little bit of encouragement. Right? So if you're listening today and you feel discouraged because you were triggered recently, we want you to hear this. You are not hopeless.
Nope.
Not at all.
No. And you're not your trigger.
No.
You're definitely not your trigger.
No, right?
Yeah.
You're not your trauma response.
Nope.
Oh.
And you're not your worst moment.
Nope.
We're going to have worst moments that'll come up, but you don't get stuck in that worst moment.
And this is one to really listen to. You are a person in process.
I love that. That's really good.
Growth is process. Okay?
Yeah. Remember, you're still healing. We're going to heal throughout our entire life. We want to be healing through our entire life, because that means we're growing.
Right. You're still growing. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And God is still at work in you.
Yep.
He will be with you, at work in you throughout your entire life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you're triggered, remember to give yourself grace. Ground yourself, recognize the trigger, assess and adjust, choose your response, not react, choose your response, exit and engage elsewhere when needed. And
remember this, that is not a weakness. That is wisdom.
It's wisdom.
Wisdom right there. Those are some golden nuggets right there.
So thank you for joining us today on the Heal and Restore podcast. If this episode encouraged you, we invite you to share it with someone who may need to be reminded that being triggered does not mean they are broken.
Right.
So remember, hit the share, like, and follow button on your computer.
Yeah.
That's all we ask. That's those three simple things.
Yeah, and follow us on all of our social media platforms. There's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Yep. And we have a YouTube channel as well. Yeah. So, and remember, if you're in a relationship where you feel stuck in these painful cycles, you're not alone, first of all. We would love to support you. So we do offer our 1 hour free, no cost to you. It's a discovery session where you can share where you're feeling stuck at, what your goals are. We'll share a little bit about ourselves and why we do what we do, about our program, and then go over all of that with you, and you can make a decision if that's something you want to move forward on. So you can do that by visiting our website at healandrestorecounseling.com. That's healandrestorecounseling.com. And just click on the link there. It'll send us a message, and usually within 24 hours or less, we're going to respond to that and be setting up a time. If you're local to us, we like to meet in person. If you're not, we have people across the whole United States. And if you are not local to us, we can do this via Zoom as well. And then we have found that to be very successful.
Yes.
To our surprise, much to our surprise.
Yeah.
So check it out at healandrestorecounseling.com. You can also visit our website and find other testimonies of other couples and individuals that we have been working with over the past several years to get a better feel of who we are.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
So remember, healing is possible. restoration is possible. And when you are triggered, give yourself grace.
Yeah, absolutely. So remember this. We love you. We're praying for you. And we'll see you next time on the Heal and Restore podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
beautiful.
Pretty good, huh?
Yeah, I love that.
I like this one today. I think people need to learn how to give themselves grace.
Mm-hmm.
I know I do still.
Yeah, every day.
I'm the worst at it.
It's a great reminder for myself, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. It is for me too. So when we're doing these podcasts and talking about this stuff, we're also talking about
our own self.
Our own self, what we need to do too. It's a reminder for us.
Yeah, so. It's putting our things that we've learned in practice daily.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the one thing that Cathy and I never do is we never ask people to do anything that we haven't done, and it's more or less a proven path.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, well, remember this: if nobody tells you that they love you today, Randy does.
Cathy does.
But more importantly, God does. Be blessed, everybody. Have a fabulous week.
Have a great week.